Hello, this is Cheryl Peterson at HealingScienceToday.com, reading a modern Christian Science Bible lesson from The Message, copyrighted by Eugene Peterson, and from the 7th edition of 21st Century Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, a modern version of Mary Baker Eddy's Science and Health. The action, Ascension. The intent is from Proverbs. Life ascends to the heights for the thoughtful. It's a clean about face from descent into hell. Genesis. God spoke to Jacob, "Go back to Bethel. Stay there and build an altar to the God who revealed himself to you when you were running for your life from your brother Esau." And then God was gone, ascended from the place where he had spoken with him. Jacob set up a stone pillar on the spot where God had spoken with him. He poured a drink offering on it and anointed it with oil. Jacob dedicated the place where God had spoken with him, Bethel, God's house. Ezekiel. 6 men came down the road from the upper gate that faces north, each carrying his lethal weapon. With them was a man dressed in linen, with a writing case slung from his shoulder. They entered and stood by the bronze altar. The glory of the God of Israel ascended from his usual place above the cherubim angels, moved to the threshold of the temple, and called to the man with the writing case, who was dressed in linen, "Go through the streets of Jerusalem and put a mark on the forehead of everyone who is in anguish over the outrageous obscenities being done in the city." I listened as he went on to address the executioners. "Follow him through the city and kill. Feel sorry for no one. Show no compassion." While the massacre went forward, I was left alone. I fell on my face in prayer. Oh, God, my Master, are you going to kill everyone left in Israel in this pouring out of your anger on Jerusalem? When God commanded the man dressed in linen, "Take fire from among the wheels, from between the cherubim," he went in and stood beside a wheel. One of the cherubim reached into the fire, took some coals, and put them in the hands of the man dressed in linen. He took them and went out. Something that looked like a human hand could be seen under the wings of the cherubim. Each of the cherubim had 4 faces, the first of an angel, the second a human, the third a lion, the fourth an eagle. Then the cherubim ascended. John. Jesus said, "Don't bicker among yourselves over me. You're not in charge here. The Father who sent me is in charge. He draws people to me. That's the only way you'll ever come. Your ancestors ate the manna bread in the desert and died. But now here is bread that truly comes down out of heaven. Anyone eating this bread will not die ever. I am the bread, living bread, who came down out of the heaven. Anyone who eats this bread will live, and forever. The bread that I present to the world so that it can eat and live is myself, this flesh and blood self." Jesus sensed that his disciples were having a hard time with this and said, "Does this rattle you completely? What would happen if you saw the Son of Man ascending to where he came from? The Spirit can make life. Sheer muscle and willpower don't make anything happen. Every word I've spoken to you is a spirit word, and so it is life-making. But some of you are resisting, refusing to have any part in this." 21st Century Science and Health. The lack of a spiritual power in today's demonstrations of popular Christianity does not put to silence the labor of the centuries. Spiritual, not material consciousness is needed. Individuals delivered from conflict, disease, and destruction will epitomize the true likeness of God's image. Already the shadow of God's right hand rests on the hour. For those of you who know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, the physical sign, how much better is it to discern the mental sign? Spiritual interpretation removes spiritual unawareness and ill health by overcoming the thoughts which produce them and by understanding the spiritual idea which corrects and replaces them. Jesus' mission was to reveal the truth of spiritual reality to all humankind, even to the hearts which rejected him. A badly trained ear, not appreciating harmony, thinks noisy melodrama is normal. So human perception, untrained to discern true happiness, thinks unhappiness is normal. Divine science will correct misperceptions and teach us life's sweeter harmonies. Some critics think that Christian scientists are deluded or in a vacuum because they want anything unlike God and goodness to be unreal. A Christian apologist attempting to interpret the teachings of divine science says of Christian scientists, their religious worldview teaches that sickness and pain are an illusion. They do not exist. But this belief is valid only by rejecting the fact that truth corresponds to reality. The fact that truth corresponds to reality is not rejected in Christian Science. Instead, Christian Science reveals that much of the reality before the human perceptions is not actually true. The earth isn't a motionless solid mass, but consists of forces in constant motion. Disbelief in error destroys error and leads to the discernment of truth. Reality, truth, has no unreality, no error. It is to our advantage never to let sympathy and society tempt us to cherish error in any form, and certainly we should not be error's advocate. We treat error through the understanding of truth, because truth is error's antidote. Error is like dreams, and when dreams self-destruct, the terror is over. Take pain. Pain sometimes disappears as dreams. It may seem absurd to say pain is an illusion. However, what else could it be? Human beings have forever been at odds when measuring pain levels. Two people could encounter the same condition, feeling painful to one while going unnoticed to the other. More bizarre is the fact that pain in one human being is pleasure to another. Pain has even been proven to be an error on the physical level. When human mind is distracted, unconscious, or drugged, where is the pain? Pain is an error, sometimes a terror. Error is no part of truth, and this is an antidote that removes fear of pain. Superstition and lack of knowledge within your own human framework must be expelled to make room for spiritual understanding. We cannot serve a human and divine framework at the same time. Are you ready to admit that frail mortals try serving both? The human mind must struggle to interpret correctly the discomfort that Jesus inspired and the spiritual blessings that might flow from this type of discomfort that oftentimes produces a shock. Science shows the shock is produced because of a great distance between the individual and truth. The realm of the real is spirit. Human minds misinterpret spirit and generate its unlikeness. Human passions, spirits, and energies are incomplete concepts. Being incomplete, they lead to unreliable statements. Nothing we can say or believe regarding unpredictable units is reliable, for their material ingredients vibrate and change or are modified. The physical landscape is a human phenomenon, a human invention, sometimes beautiful, always incorrect. Human mind believes a lie and then covers it up with more lies until its days become shorter. In this confused frame of mind full of lies, human beings even interpret the spiritual law of truth as suspicious, threatening, or cruel. If we reason from effect to cause, we will believe God created mortal humans, and sure enough, physical existence and God becomes a mystery. When reasoning from cause to effect, we discover spirit, giving the true mental idea. We cannot interpret spirit, divine mind, through inconsistent human concepts or matter. Only as we ascend above all habituated feelings and sin can we reach heaven-born aspiration. We call the body material, but it is truly a materialist mind. The human mortal mind, by an inevitable perversion, makes all things start from the lowest instead of from the highest mortal thought. The reverse is the case with all the formations of the immortal divine mind, in which we trace thoughts proceeding from the divine source and constantly ascending with infinite being.